Hey guys, how's it going? Ches back again with another episode of the Chelsea Career Mode here on Xbox One. We're into episode number 60 now, and we're starting with a game at home against Stoke City. Unfortunately in the rain, but hopefully the weather won't affect the gameplay itself, and we'll be able to come out with all 3 points, which is something we've been doing quite a lot recently. We've been in very, very good goal-scoring form, and we've been very solid defensively as well at the other end of the pitch, not conceding too many goals whatsoever, and of course progressing through in the Champions League, a game of which we'll have a little bit later on in this episode, and doing quite well in the Premier League as well. We start off with a chance here through Mattia De Sciglio, the young Italian right back slash left back slash wing back that has been in great form for us. And Stoke City were actually really solid defensively in these opening stages, as you can see, just throwing men behind the ball, trying to ensure that we weren't able to break them down and get ourselves in front. But it wasn't going to be long before we were able to get in front. Nice flicked on header here, and I'm not really too sure why I hit this from such distance with Luis Muriel, although considering the way it flew into the back of the net, I'm glad I did. I had so much space there to run into. Luis Muriel is by no means a slouch. He's one of the fastest players on the game. But I don't know what came over me. I just thought, bollocks to it, I'm going to give it a crack. And it flew straight into the bottom corner. So pleased to go 1-0 up so early on in such good fashion. But fortunate not to be pegged back just a few minutes later. Michael Kitely gets a great turn in the box. And he really should have done better with that. Flashing it past that far post. Petr Cech not troubled. So we pushed further on into the first half. And it was more a case of blue wave after blue wave in this first half. Arturo Vidal, though, really should have done better with that effort. He's perhaps more of a lace shot guy than a finesse shot guy, but still, the amount of space he had on the ball there, I would have expected him to at least have gotten that on target. But we seem to be having quite a few shots from distance early on in this game, and we're going to have another one at the end of this particular clip. Stoke again clearing their lines quite well. Hazard's going to pick the ball up here about 40-45 yards out, and he's going to actually give it a good old ping. And unfortunately for Stoke, the goalkeeper's on hand to run across and be able to tip that round the post, because that was a fantastic strike from Hazard. You can tell from this replay it was going to sneak in that far bottom corner, and Jefferson in fact is the goalkeeper they've got at the minute. Stoke, really a good goalkeeper actually. Surprised that he went to Stoke, but still the corner comes in from Scholler, hits Mangala on the forward, but unfortunately bounces up and over the bar rather than down and into the net. And Stoke started off on the front foot at the beginning of the second half, having a couple of efforts at the same end that we scored our goal. Of course, Cameron Jerome there going close, and then eventually we're going to try and scramble the ball clear through Marco Reus, getting a tackle in on Marco Arnautovic. But again, Stoke were kind of on top for a little bit, but didn't really threaten too much. That was kind of their main shot for the entirety of the second half. It was going to be another wave of blue attack after blue attack, and Hazard came close with a finesse shot earlier on from distance, this time trying the lace shot from distance, and unfortunately hitting the woodwork. It rebounds up off the bar and goes out for a goal kick. It just didn't quite dip in time to go underneath the bar there, and unfortunately we stay at 1-0. We're going to have another chance here, again another flick on, again another counter-attack. We do this time and time again so far this season, and it's Marco Reus in behind here. He's going to get a decent shot in. Goalkeeper absolutely no chance, just stands there and watches it, but unfortunately he hits the post, and we still stay at 1-0, and that was how the game was going to finish. So despite not being too clinical in front of goal, being quite wasteful, a few chances that really should have done better with, hitting the bar, hitting the post, we were still able to come out with all 3 points. So we jump into the Champions League for the first time in the competition proper. Of course, we beat Austria Vienna in the 2 legs in the 4th qualifying round. Of course, we finished 4th in the league last season, therefore we needed to qualify for the Champions League group stage, and we have done so. So we've got St Etienne, AZ Alkmaar and Schalke 04 in our group stage. So you would expect us to be the favourites in that group. The team from France, team from Germany and team from Holland, not really the strongest in their respective nations, and you would really expect us to perhaps really well dominate this group stage. And we actually got off to a fantastic start. Alexander Pato with a tidy finish inside the goalkeeper's near post. Unfortunate for him, he'll be disappointed, Ruffier, that he wasn't able to keep that out. But still, Alexander Pato puts us 1-0 up. He's actually started life at the club very, very well indeed. He's obviously came in for £10 million plus Fernando Torres, I think was the fee we paid for him at in the end. We had to sell on a couple of players before we actually were able to free up the funds to bring him in. But he has had a very, very good impact on the team and almost picked up a second goal there. A rather spectacular overhead kick, went just wide of that far post. Ruffier really actually was particularly worried there. You could see him absolutely spring across his goal. He wasn't sure whether that was going in or not, and unfortunately for us, and unfortunately for Alexander Pato, it didn't. But still, good signs from us in the first half, proving that we definitely are the better side here. Hoping to continue that in the second half and perhaps pick up a second goal and put the tie to bed. And Thomas Callas makes a great run down the right hand side, linking up well with Willian, whips the ball in. Pato again wins the header, and it's a fantastic save by Ruffier. This time he definitely does have to get a hand behind it to stop it from going into the back of the net, and we stay at 1-0, just like we did in the game against Stoke. So we were hoping that despite our wastefulness in front of goal for a second time, we weren't going to be troubled at the other end. But they're going to have a decent header. It was on target. It was only the deflection off Thomas Callas's forehead that stopped that ball from heading into the back of the net. So Saint-Etienne pick up a corner. Now, actually, this is quite interesting because the guy that's going to win the header here is, of course, Gary Cahill, formerly of Chelsea. And the guy he beats in the air to score that goal is Kurt Zouma, a centre-back formerly of Saint-Etienne. So it's the guy playing against his former club, scores against his former club, and beats the guy that was at his now current club for his former club in the air. It's rather confusing, but still quite nicely scripted almost for Gary Cahill to score that equaliser and beat Kurt Zouma in the air to do so. But Oscar unfortunately wasn't quite able to get us back in the game there with that shot. I would try to aim that towards the far bottom corner. He just kind of pulled it a little bit towards the near post, and it didn't really trouble Ruffier. And unfortunately, we only pick up a point from that game against Saint-Etienne, so our wastefulness in front of goal really cost us there. And we only take a point from our opening Champions League group game, which is quite disappointing, but we're hoping to bounce back away from home against Manchester United. But of course, it's not going to be an easy game at Old Trafford. It never is. But we're starting a full strength side. Of course, we played a rotation side against St Etienne because the players were still a little bit tired from that game against Stoke. So we're hoping back with the first team we were going to do quite well. And as you can see, we sit third, 2 points ahead of Manchester United in fourth, both unbeaten so far this season. Although we've played for 1-4, they've played for 1-3, drawn 1. So we have the better record, which is why obviously we're in front. And I was hoping that we could make that show on the pitch as well. But United were playing the ball around quite nicely, playing some really nice football, but perhaps just a little bit wasteful in possession, similar to how we've been wasteful with our chances earlier on in the episode. And unfortunately, Arturo Vidal this time going for the lace shot as opposed to the finesse shot that he missed earlier on. But again, just not really troubling the goalkeeper with it. It was straight at David De Gea, and it wasn't too much of a problem. But the ball is actually going to eventually find its way into the box. Eden Hazard's going to receive the ball to feet. Quick pass to Luis Murillo, really nice feet to turn away from the defender. Good shot, but again, David De Gea is down well to his right-hand side to keep us out. But we pick up a corner, and we're going to try and whip it in and take the lead if we possibly can. It's going to be Eden Hazard that whips it in. We had Mangala win a header earlier on in the episode, and he went over the bar. This time, though, he powers it into the back of the net, and we take a 1-0 lead in the 22nd minute away at Old Trafford. So I was pleased with the way that we started the game, kept Man United out a little bit, but 5 minutes later, we found ourselves on the back foot. 5 to 10 minutes later, Ashley Young's going to whip in a devilish ball, and for some reason, I couldn't challenge with Mattia De Chilio. Found himself the wrong side of the man, and I couldn't position myself to get back around in front of Danny Welbeck before the ball arrived right on Danny Welbeck's forehead. And 2 headers from two, one a centre forward, one a defensive player, but 2 headers with a difference so far here. 1-1 as we headed towards half time, but actually just a couple of minutes after we got pegged back at 1-1, we actually found ourselves 2-1 up. This time Eden Hazard has a finesse shot from a little bit closer in, and this time finds the back of the net rather than having either a good save or finding the woodwork. And rather weird that we were able to just go straight back up the other end after Man United had worked so hard to get themselves back in it. Just a bit of lax defending, just didn't really concentrate too much. It was too easily turned, and Hazard found the back of the net with a really nice finesse shot, and actually almost got past, almost embarrassed the defender there. But fortunately, we retained possession. Danilo's going to come down the right-hand side this time, trying to switch the ball about from side to side, because United didn't seem to be able to cope with that too well. They couldn't shift their bodies from one side of the pitch to the other quick enough. And Luis Murillo again is going to embarrass the defender with a good turn, find Marco van Ginkel, and United actually are really unfortunate with the way that ball ends up in the back of the net. First half stoppage time, we find ourselves 3-1 up, and you'll be able to see from the couple of replays, it really wasn't the cleanest of strikes from Marco van Ginkel, but it took a cruel deflection off the defender. The second replay shows it a little better. It just wrong foots David De Gea, and he isn't able to get back down to it. You see, Van Ginkel takes a shot there, comes off the defender's heel, and that just makes it go from a central position into the far bottom corner. But as we push into the second half, Rafael Varane picks up a yellow card here for a rather innocuous foul. It's just a little bit of shirt tagging on going with Danny Welbeck, and Welbeck just isn't strong enough to cope with the physical presence of Varane. And I was a bit disappointed that they got a free kick here, but Kagger was going to stand it up, and Nani finds himself all on his own 10 yards out and somehow manages to absolutely shank his header and doesn't put enough on it. It just skims past his forehead. Perhaps it was because the ball was wet, I don't know. We are playing in the rain here, but he really should have done better with that. And had he scored that goal, the game probably would have panned out a lot different. But we're trying to keep possession here as we push towards the end of the first half, trying to put the game out of reach for Man United. And I don't understand what it was. United, we'd been so wasteful in the earlier games in the episode, and this time we just seemed to be really, really good at putting the ball into the back of the net. And United was so bad defensively as well. Again, it was a defensive mistake that let me in. Smalling lunged at Luis Muriel and just dived over the top of the ball. Fortunately, Lewis was able to jump over the top of it and wasn't actually injured by that challenge, because had Smalling actually connected foot to leg there, that probably would have actually injured Luis Muriel. And why Fellaini didn't take a shot there from inside the box, I have no idea. Gets himself in a perfect position to slot the ball across the goalkeeper into the back of the net and decides to try and pass it across goal. The 4-1 scoreline really doesn't tell the full story of that game. Man United were very much so our equals in that game, but as you can see from the league table, they haven't scored that many goals, and you can see why. They're just wasteful in front of goal. We went from being the wasteful team in the earlier two games to being the team that took their chances, and the opposition were the wasteful team. So we sit second in the league. Both ourselves, Arsenal and Liverpool have all won our opening 5 games, but Arsenal has scored 3 goals more than us and conceded less as well. So they're really the team on form right now. But the 3 of us sit top of the table, all on 15 points after 5 games. So it's all to play for in the later episodes this week. But that's going to bring today's episode to a close. There's going to be a brand new series tonight, guys. So be sure to check your sub box for that around about 7:30. Of course, if you aren't subscribed already, then there is an annotation on the screen on the left-hand side to do so. And there'll be a link in the description to subscribe to my Twitter and to my Instagram as well. And of course, if you missed the previous episode in this series, there's an annotation on the right hand side of your screen right now. And if you don't know what I upload and when I upload it, there's a link, or there's a schedule in the description that will let you know exactly what and when it goes up on my channel. And there's also a schedule in the about page on the channel page itself. But that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.